So, we're rich now? Alright, let's talk about India. Big news, people. India is now the fourth largest economy in the world. Yes, you heard that right. Fourth. That's like winning an Olympic medal, but for money. We're talking serious cash, a huge economic engine. The world is looking at India and saying, wow, they're really doing it. It's a moment to puff out your chest a little, you know? We've climbed the ladder, past some big names. It's a testament to years of hard work, innovation, and a whole lot of hustle from a billion-plus people. This isn't just a number, it's a statement. India has arrived on the global economic stage, and we're not just playing, we're competing hard. This achievement is massive. Think about it, being the fourth largest economy means India has significant global influence. It means we have a bigger say in international trade talks. It means global companies want to invest here. Our markets are booming, our industries are growing, and there's a buzz in the air. It's like India just got a major upgrade in the game of global economics. We're talking about a multi-trillion-dollar economy. That's a lot of zeros, folks. This kind of economic power can shape policies, drive innovation, and create opportunities. So you hear this term all the time, GDP, gross domestic product, sounds super official, maybe a little boring, right? Like something economists whisper about in secret meetings. But trust me, it's actually pretty simple. Think of a country like India as one giant household. GDP is basically the total income of that household for a whole year. It's all the money earned from everything produced and sold within the country's borders. From the smallest cup of chai sold on the street, to the most expensive software exported by a tech giant, it all counts towards the GDP. It's the big number that tells us how much economic stuff is happening. Imagine India is a massive marketplace, a bazaar that stretches from Kashmir to Kanyakumari. Everything made and sold in this marketplace in 1 year adds up to the GDP. This includes goods like cars, phones, clothes, food, and it includes services like banking, IT support, haircuts, Bollywood movies. Yes, even Shah Rukh Khan's latest blockbuster contributes to the GDP. It's a measure of the total economic activity. So when you hear that India's GDP is, say, over 3.5 trillion US dollars, that means the total value of all these goods and services produced in India is that much. Alright, we've talked about GDP, the total economic pie of the country. It's huge, it's impressive, it's like a giant, multi-flavored pizza at a national party. Everyone's excited about how big this pizza is. News channels are flashing headlines. India's pizza is the fourth largest in the world. Awesome, right? We all love pizza, especially a big one. It suggests there's plenty to go around. But just knowing the size of the whole pizza doesn't tell you how big your slice is going to be. That's where per capita income comes in. It's trying to figure out the size of your individual slice. So, what is per capita income? Per capita is just a fancy Latin phrase that means per head or for each person. So, per capita income is the average income per person in a country. How do we calculate it? It's actually pretty straightforward math, no calculus required, I promise. You take the country's total GDP, that giant pizza we were talking about, and you divide it by the total number of people living in the country. So, we've established India is an economic heavyweight, fourth largest GDP. We're flexing our economic muscles on the world stage. You'd think with such a massive economy, the average Indian would be doing pretty well, right? That our per capita income, our individual slice of that giant economic pizza, would be pretty substantial. Well, this is where the story takes a bit of a turn. It's like we aced the group project, big GDP, but when it comes to individual scores, per capita income, things look a little different. It's not quite the victory lap we might expect after hearing about our GDP ranking. Let's put some numbers into perspective, but keep it simple. India's per capita income, while growing, is still significantly lower than that of many developed countries. Think about nations like the United States, the United Kingdom, Germany, or even smaller developed economies like Switzerland or Norway. Their per capita incomes are many times higher than India's. This means, on average, a person in those countries has a lot more purchasing power and access to resources than an average person in India. It's a stark contrast, and it highlights that a large GDP doesn't automatically mean high individual prosperity for everyone. Section 5. The rich get richer, and the rest get what exactly? Income inequality. So, why the big gap between India's massive GDP and its modest per capita income? One of the biggest culprits, folks, is something called income inequality. It's a term you hear a lot, and for good reason. Basically, it means that the economic pie, even if it's a giant one, isn't being shared very evenly. A small group of people at the very top are getting incredibly large slices, while a huge number of people at the bottom are left with crumbs or very thin slices. This concentration of wealth at the top skews the average, but it doesn't reflect the reality for most people. Think of it like this. India's economy is a massive party, and the GDP is the total amount of food and drinks available. But imagine if a few guests piled their plates super high with all the best dishes, leaving very little for everyone else. That's income inequality in action. Reports from organizations like Oxfam regularly highlight this issue in India. Section 6. So many people, so little pie per person, population pressure. Another huge factor in this whole per capita income puzzle is India's massive population. We are the most populous country in the world, folks. Over 1.4 billion people. That's a lot of people. Think about it. Almost 1 in every 6 people on this planet is Indian. Now, having a large population can be a strength. It means a huge workforce, a massive domestic market, and a vibrant, diverse society. This is often called the demographic dividend. Young people, lots of energy, lots of potential. That's the upside. But let's go back to our per capita income calculation, total GDP divided by total population. You see where this is going, right? When that total population number in the denominator is enormous, like 1.4 billion, it significantly brings down the per capita income figure, even if the GDP is very large. Section 7, got a job? Cool. But is it a job? Job quality and the gigantic informal world. All right, let's talk about jobs. Because having a job is usually how people earn income, right? And India has a lot of people working. But here's a critical question. What kind of jobs are we talking about? Are these high-paying, stable jobs with benefits? Or are they something else? This is super important because the quality of employment, not just the quantity, has a massive impact on per capita income. If a large chunk of the workforce is stuck in low-wage, precarious jobs, then the average income will naturally stay low, even if the GDP is booming thanks to a few high-value sectors. A huge portion of India's workforce, and I mean huge, is employed in what's called the informal sector or the unorganized sector. Think about your local street food vendor, the construction worker paid daily wages, the domestic helper, the small shop owner who doesn't have a formal registration. These are all part of the informal economy. While these jobs provide livelihoods for millions and are crucial to the economy's functioning, they often come with significant downsides. We're talking low wages, little to no job security, no paid leave, no health insurance, no retirement benefits. Section 8. The daily grind, what low income means for folks. So, we've talked about GDP, per capita income, income inequality, population, and job quality. These are all important concepts. But what does a low per capita income, compounded by inequality, actually mean for the everyday life of an average Indian? Let's get down to brass tacks. It's not just a statistic on a government report. It's about real people and their daily struggles and aspirations. It's about the choices families have to make every single day. It's about the opportunities that are available, or more often, those that are out of reach. For many families, low income means a constant struggle to afford basic necessities. We're talking about things like nutritious food, decent housing, clean water, and sanitation. When your income is barely enough to cover food and rent, there's very little left for anything else. Saving money becomes a distant dream. Unexpected expenses like a medical emergency or a failed crop for a farmer can push a family into deep debt and poverty. Section 9, fixing the pie, more dough, bigger slices, and hope. Okay, so we've painted a picture. India, an economic giant with a massive GDP, but also a nation where the average person's income, their slice of the pie, is still too small. We've looked at income inequality, population pressure, and the nature of jobs. It might sound a bit daunting, maybe even a little depressing, but hold on, this isn't the end of the story. India is a country of incredible dynamism and potential, and there are ways to tackle these challenges and build a more prosperous future for everyone. There's definitely hope on the horizon. So, what are the solutions? First up, education and skill development. This is huge. If we want people to get better paying jobs, they need the right skills for the modern economy. This means investing in quality schooling from a young age, vocational training, and higher education that's relevant to industry needs. Think coding boot camps, advanced manufacturing skills, healthcare training. When people have valuable skills, they can command higher wages, and that directly boosts per capita income. It's about empowering individuals to climb the economic ladder. Next, we need to focus on creating more formal sector jobs. This means making it easier for businesses, especially small and medium enterprises, to grow, register, and become part of the formal economy. This involves simplifying regulations, improving access to credit, and investing in infrastructure like roads, ports, and reliable electricity.